Forward. I love you, Abraham. It's a trip, man. It's a trip. I'm an artist. I'm a rapper. I make music, hip hop. And a few years ago, I was in a place of total alignment, and I would receive the lyrics to my songs in a way that was so joyful and so meaningful to me. And sometimes I find myself in that spot. I find myself in that place where I'm feeling really good, and then the ideas just come to me, and the rhymes just come so naturally. And I already know the answer to my question. I know that I have to get in the vortex. You always have to get in the vortex before you do anything. I've learned that. And
blah blah blah.
yeah,
blah, blah.
it's the same thing over and over again. I know. It's repetitive, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
And what I want from you today, Abraham, is a request. It's not really a question. I like the idea of taking thought beyond what is. I want this conversation to expand to a place where it has never been before. So, the other day I was thinking about inspiration that comes from within, inspiration from a place of feeling worthiness.
Inspiration from the receiving mode.
From the receiving mode, yes. Yeah. Yes.
Which means from the mode of no resistance, from that pure, clear space. Yeah. Before you go further, can you hold that? You know where you're going with it enough that you'll keep it? We have a question for you. So you talked about how in the beginning you knew that you were in the receiving mode and you loved the deliciousness of the unfolding. And there was an implication that some of that is not quite as powerful as it once was. And the reason for that is because once you begin receiving and then you begin offering for others to view, you can become a little heady about it, more back in step one. And it's a natural thing. It's natural to be in step one and ask and then receive, and then it's natural to notice what you're receiving. But when you notice what you're receiving, now you're thinking about it, so you're back in step one. So just by your awareness of the way it's received, or by your awareness of the way others feel about it, or by your awareness of what it's like when it's published or when it's physical, that automatically, and it's okay, that automatically, and it's okay, that automatically, and it's okay, and it's got to be okay, it automatically puts more resistance in it. And so you just have to keep replenishing. You just have to keep replenishing so that you compensate. We tell artists and authors and creators of all nature, because everything, whether it's a business empire that you are building or even a relationship, that the majority of this magnificent whatever it is was created before you put a single word on the page or a single note on the line or nailed the first board to the second board. That the creation is complete in its vibrational purity. And once you begin the tangible physical action of it, that's when you begin to introduce resistance into it. Did you follow? Because now this is so important, doesn't need to be that way, but the reason that happens is because, so picture the creation is already there and it's complete. And you're in the receiving mode and you receive an impulse. And in a moment, we'll talk about how in meditation, you've quieted your mind and no thoughts are coming. You've managed to quiet your mind and no thoughts are coming. You've managed to quiet your mind and no thoughts are coming. And maybe you feel some emotion, but that's not thought. And maybe you're getting a little movement even, but that's not thought. There's no resistance in what's going on. And then a thought occurs to you right out of that vortex. And when you receive it, you can feel the purity of that thought. That's what you were talking about with some of your lyrics. And so when that thought comes, that's what you're reaching for. But there is some vibrational maturation and evolution to happen for that thought to turn to another thought, to an impulse, to another thought, to an impulse, to another thought, over here into this physical manifestation. And what happens with so many is that you try to make that jump too fast. So you get the impulse or the inspiration, and then you move right into action too fast rather than allowing it to evolve, so that you introduce unnecessary resistance into the equation too soon. Jerry always said, let's not get our business bigger than our business, which meant let's let it evolve and let's follow the next logical impulse. But a lot of people want to jump too soon because they haven't learned yet to enjoy the process of the unfolding. It's like not happened yet, not happened yet, not happened yet, not happened yet, not happened yet. And when it manifests, then I'm going to be really happy. We say, yes, you will for a minute. All the juice has been chewed out of the gum by the time it manifests. So we want you to start really enjoying the juicy unfolding of it all. So that's the answer to your question. Jumped too soon into the action and didn't derive enough pleasure from the natural evolution, the receiving mode. You got it, didn't you?
So I just gotta chill out more, wait.
We would meditate and then receive as much as we could receive and then allow it to become. Don't jump too fast to the finished product. Enjoy the experience of it, because if rap is anything, it is spontaneous. In other words, it's the closest thing to just pure receiving. And of course, it's interesting because as we are visiting with you here, we are offering blocks of thought to you. Some of you are getting them like Esther is. You're translating these blocks of thoughts into words sort of like Esther is. So Esther is receiving these blocks of thought at an unconscious level and finding words that match them. And that's what you're doing with your lyrics. You're getting the essence of it, and then you're finding the words that match. And it's a little interesting. It would be a different sort of experience if it were important to us that each sentence rhyme. It would take more time. But you have to acknowledge that in that there is an introduction of your conscious mind. Jerry always said, Abraham uses so much more of your vocabulary than you do. And Esther said, huh? And Jerry said, you mostly just use two words, thing and stuff. He's playing with her, but Esther knows that we do use more of her vocabulary because there are words that she knows, and so at this unconscious level some of them come to the surface, and your ability to rhyme is there also, but that rhyming gets your conscious mind involved, and so you're reaching for that balance. The more you allow yourself to just allow it to flow without trying to produce a finished product so quickly, then the more satisfaction you'll have with the concepts along the way. There is a non-physical rhythm. That's why music and dance are so wonderful. And when you say you want to be on the leading edge of thought, and that you want this conversation to go where no conversation has ever gone before, and it already has, when you realize that you are in a constant evolutionary flow, and you realize that your inner being is already there, and now you're in the receiving mode. You see, in this perfect dance that we are all doing together, we're all together before your birth, and then you came splat into your physical body, and here you are in your physical body, out ahead of that where your inner being is, because now you are having exposure to the physicality of life out here on the leading edge, that now your inner being is taking in everything that you experience. Your inner being is now experiencing. So you have led your inner being into a new place. Then you sifted through contrasts that your inner being cannot sift through, because your inner being is in a frequency that cannot sift through the contrast of this. Makes sense to you? All with good reason. And from it you sift something that is wanted, which your inner being then gives undivided attention to. So you came by the intentionality of your inner being into a body, and therefore led your inner being forward. Then contrast led your inner being forward again. So now you have led your inner being to a place that it has never been before, to new conscious awareness of new desire that has never been before. It is unique unto you. And now your inner being is standing there holding that, and now leading you to the alignment of it. So when you follow the way you feel, into that alignment, and you feel the exhilaration of that coming into connection with your inner being, then for a moment we're all dancing right there together. We've led each other. We led you, then you led us, then you led us, then we led you, then you led us, then we led you, then you led us, and then, but in that moment of exhilaration we're all right there on the same page. And now from that new place of creation, you are new unto the universe, and so are we new unto the universe. So now in the receiving mode, now you get to receive clarification, the knowledge, the new verbiage, the new experience. Your inner being is now offering you new clarity, leading you again, which now you get to receive. And when you get into that receiving mode, you're only there for a little while. You can't hold yourself there. And then back into the contrast where it happens again and again and again. There's contrast in every particle of the universe, even where we are. But the contrast is so slight by comparison with your contrast that you could not perceive the contrast that we live. But it must exist if expansion is to be, you see. So, you got a lot out of that, and we really went to a place that we have